and welcome to my video solution on parabolas. Okay, so have a look at this question. It says a parabola C has equation y squared equals 4ax, or 16x rather, and the point S is the focus of the parabola. Okay, so like I said, the general form is y squared equals 4ax, where A is your focus. In this case, they've called it S. They've called it the point S. Okay. So from here, it's quite obvious that A is equal to 4. So S, if you like, has coordinates 4, 0. That is the focus. Write down the coordinates of S. Done. No need to think. Okay, write down. There's no working out. If you understand that the general form of a parabola is y squared equals 4ax, in this case, whatever they call the focus, it doesn't matter. They've called it S. Fine. Or 0. Not a problem. Okay, find an equation of the line SP. Okay, so this is really a C1 question from here. Okay, so the only FP1 part was to understand what the word focus meant in this question. The remainder of this question is actually a C1 question. So in order to find the equation of a straight line, it's y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1. Okay, so we need to work out the gradient. Now the gradient is given by the change in y over the change in x. We don't need to write down the whole formula, y2 minus y1 and all that. Okay, we just go through it quickly. So it's going to be 16 minus 0, which is 16. So m is equal to 16 over 16 minus 4, which is 12. We can simplify that as 4 over 3. Now, so what we have, do we have all our ingredients? Yes, because x1, so let me just remind you, this is the x coordinate. So this is your x1. And this is the y coordinate. This is your y1. Now, because it passes through the point S, we could use that. And it also passes through the point P. So we could also have used 16, 6. But these numbers are smaller, so we're going to choose x1 and y1 to be 4 and 0. So the equation then for part B, the equation of the line SP is y minus 0, I'll put that in even though we don't need to, is equal to the gradient 4/3. Let me just shrink and group the rest of these. I'm just going to shrink this so that, okay, 4/3 x minus 4. Now to rearrange it in the given form is simply GCSE algebra, okay? It's not hard. If I multiply through by 3, I have here 3y. And then if I remove the bracket, it's 4x minus 16. I take everything to the right-hand side. Therefore, 4x minus 3y minus 16 equals 0. And that is in the required form. Okay, so part C, find the coordinates of Q. So the line SP intersects C at the point Q, where P and Q are distinct points. So we look at, supposing P was there, and it intersects the curve again twice. Okay, so supposing, well, that's the point P. So supposing this is the point Q, and that's the point P, which we already have. Let's say, and we want to find this coordinate. Okay. Now, you know, again, this is straightforward. This is C1 mathematics. You know that in order to find out where two lines or a line and a curve or two curves intersect, you solve simultaneously the two equations. And the equation we had is that. I'm going to take this one. Okay, so that is the equation of the line. I'll make y the subject. Doesn't really matter. And we know that the equation of the parabola is, sorry? Well, y squared is equal to, what is it? What's y squared? 16x. I suppose. Yeah. Now, okay, so y is the subject, then y squared we'll have to square it out. However, if we made x a subject to the equation, we can say that 3y plus 16, that was a good suggestion there, well done, over 4 is equal to x. That's probably easier, isn't it? Is that right? So 3y plus 16 is equal to x. So now where I see x, I can substitute that in. So it's y squared equals to 16 lots of x. Let me remind you, this is x. We've now rearranged x to be all this. So where I see x, I can put all of that as 16 bracket 3y plus 16 all over 4. I can cancel out the 4 and the 16, okay, because 4 goes into 16 4 times. So I cancel that out. That becomes a 4. Okay. And now we have a simple quadratic equation in y. So y squared is equal to 12y plus 16. 64. Deliberate mistake. Well done for spotting it. Why didn't you say it, Dragon? Okay, 64. Well done. We then rearrange this. So it's y squared minus 12y minus 64 is equal to 0. You can now factorize this, can't we? So it's y minus 16, y plus 4 equals 0. Y is either equal to 16, which is actually the coordinate of P, which we don't want, but that's okay. It satisfies the equation, so we know we're doing it right. Or y is equal to minus 4. And of course, when y is equal to 16, back to the diagram, that would have been where that's, so geometrically, that's the solution to this point, P. Okay? And the other point of intersection, Q, what we are looking for, will therefore be when y is equal to minus 4. And we can choose any, again, this is now C1. We can choose any to substitute back in. So we can choose, say, this equation, the linear one, or this equation. Doesn't really matter. And in fact, this one's actually quite easy, isn't it? Y squared is equal to 16x. So if y is minus 4, then y squared is 16. Okay, so 16 is equal to 16x. And therefore, x is equal to 1. And our coordinate is now 1, minus 4, okay, as required.